Chapter 1. Estelle. There are many ways to discover your relationship is over. Finding suspicious text messages, seeing lipstick on someone else's collar, getting that awful feeling in your stomach that refuses to go away. Apparently, there is also a fourth option. Walking into your apartment 30 minutes earlier than expected and finding your girlfriend kissing someone else on your couch. Personally, I don't recommend that one. I stand behind the pharmacy counter pretending to organize a shelf of cold medicine for the third time in 5 minutes. Nothing actually needs organizing. My life does. The little white boxes are perfectly lined up, unlike my emotions. A customer asks where the cough syrup is, I point. Another asks whether vitamin C prevents colds, I answer automatically. My mouth keeps working while my brain stubbornly refuses to leave 8:30 this morning. Chloe had looked genuinely surprised when I'd walked into the apartment. Not guilty, surprised, like she'd been caught stealing cookies instead of cheating on her girlfriend. Estelle, she'd actually smiled, as if everything were normal, as if I hadn't just watched her kissing another beta with her hands tangled in someone else's hair. It's not what it looks like, I snort under my breath. The elderly woman browsing painkillers glances over. Sorry, I mumble. She returns to comparing ibuprofen brands. I wish heartbreak came in blister packs. 1 tablet every 6 hours. May cause drowsiness. Avoid operating heavy machinery while emotionally devastated. Unfortunately, pharmaceutical science has failed me. Instead, I'm left replaying the conversation over and over. Please don't overreact. That one nearly made me laugh. Overreact? I caught her cheating. What reaction was she expecting? A loyalty rewards program? Congratulations on your 5th betrayal. Your next one's free. She'd followed me around the apartment while I shoved clothes into a duffel bag. We've been together 2 years. I know. Don't throw everything away over one mistake. One mistake. Interesting way to describe repeatedly removing your clothes for someone else. I love you. I zipped my bag. No, I answered quietly. You loved being loved. There was a difference, a very important difference. She'd grabbed my wrist before I could leave. You'll calm down. No, you always do. I won't this time. You'll forgive me. That had been the moment I'd finally looked at her. Really looked. The woman I'd imagined building a future with. The woman I'd chose because I thought dating a beta would be easier, safer, less overwhelming. I'd dated alphas before, never seriously, just enough to learn how terrifying their pheromones could be. One scent, one touch, one approving smile. Sometimes it felt like my omega instincts were trying to hijack my entire personality. I hated that. I wanted my choices to belong to me, not my biology. So I'd deliberately chosen a beta. No intoxicating alpha scent, no instincts clouding my judgment, no overwhelming bond. Just 2 women choosing each other. I honestly believed that would give us better odds. Instead, I'd been cheated on anyway. Turns out, betrayal doesn't care what designation you are. My omega instincts still ache for a partner. If anything, they grow louder every year. Some days it's only a quiet loneliness. Other days, it's a hollow feeling in my chest whenever I walk home alone. I wanted someone who chose me, someone whose first instinct was to come home. Instead, I got Chloe. The automatic doors slide open. A familiar scent reaches me first. Fresh cedar, bergamot, the clean smell of rain after a summer storm. Gentle, never overwhelming, somehow soothing instead of commanding. I look up and immediately forget my own name. Vivian. Well, there goes my productivity. She's wearing a cream blouse tucked into charcoal trousers with a navy blazer draped neatly over one arm instead of her shoulders. A leather briefcase hangs from one hand, and several loose strands have escaped the elegant knot holding back her long black hair. She looks like she walked out of a magazine for impossibly successful women. Tall, graceful, composed, beautiful enough that my brain automatically starts buffering whenever she smiles. She's also my favorite customer. Not because she's gorgeous. Okay, not only because she's gorgeous.
She's one of the few people who actually sees me. Most customers treat pharmacy staff like particularly intelligent vending machines. Vivian always smiles, always says hello, always asks how my day's going. She knows my name. Good afternoon, Estelle. See? There it is, the smile. Warm enough to make my miserable morning shrink several sizes. Hi, Vivian. My voice comes out suspiciously cheerful. Traitor. 5 seconds ago, I was contemplating emotional ruin. Now my pulse has apparently decided we're starring in a romantic comedy. She sets her briefcase down beside the allergy medications. I hope today has been kind to you. I almost laugh. If today were a person, I'd file a restraining order. It had a rough start. Concern softens her green eyes. I'm sorry to hear that. Just those 6 words. No rushing, no pretending to care, just genuine kindness. She's always like this. The first time I'd noticed was months ago. One of her clients had apparently sent over pastries from a famous bakery downtown, the kind where each croissant costs enough to make my bank account cry. She'd walked into the pharmacy carrying the elegant white box. My office ordered far too many. She held it toward me. Would you like one? I stared at the buttery masterpiece inside. I can't. Why not? They're expensive. They're already paid for. But I'd feel better knowing someone enjoyed them. I accepted. It had been the best almond croissant of my entire life. I still think about it occasionally, usually around lunchtime. Then there was the evening I'd accidentally worked a double shift. I'd been so exhausted I almost scanned the same prescription twice. Vivian had taken one look at my face and gently said, "You don't have to carry every difficult day alone, you know." Nobody had asked how I was doing that week, except her, which was wildly unfair. How was I supposed to not develop a crush? Unfortunately, reality exists. Vivian Mercer is a successful corporate lawyer. I'm a pharmacy technician who gets excited when employee discount week rolls around. Our worlds don't exactly overlap. Besides, women like Vivian probably date surgeons, or judges, or CEOs who own islands, not women who spend their afternoons explaining the difference between antihistamines. Still, looping is free. I'm here for my usual allergy medication. I already have it ready, she smiles. I knew you would. Heat blooms across my cheeks. You always remember. It's kind of my job. I suspect you'd remember even if it weren't. My heart performs a complete gymnastics routine. Please, don't flirt with me. I'm emotionally unstable today. Actually, please keep flirting. I deserve one nice thing. As I retrieve the medication, I notice her fingers pressing against her temples. She's rubbing slow circles. Her eyes close briefly. When they open again, there's a faint tension around them. Headache? She sighs. Unfortunately. Long day? It's only 2 in the afternoon. Which probably answers my question. A soft laugh escapes her. I've been preparing for trial all week. I can tell. You can? I think it's the classic successful alpha stress headache. She raises an eyebrow. That's a diagnosis? I've decided it is. She smiles again. Dangerous woman. I was actually hoping you might recommend something. I glance toward the cane relief file, then back at her. An idea appears. A ridiculous, terrible, absolutely brilliant idea. Medication would solve the problem, but medication doesn't involve touching Vivian. A massage does. My inner voice immediately objects. Estelle, that's insane. My outer voice says, Honestly? Yes. I think a massage would help more than painkillers. She blinks. You give massages? I think fast. Have very enthusiastic hands. Vivian laughs. It's quiet, rich, beautiful. I decide on the spot that I deserve to hear that sound at least once a day for the rest of my life. I finish in 40 minutes, I add, if you're not in a rush. She studies me for a moment. I'm trusting my pharmacist an unusual amount. You absolutely are. I suppose that's what happens when she always remembers my medication. Then, to my complete astonishment, she nods. All right. My brain briefly disconnects from reality. Really? Really? Oh, you sound surprised. I was expecting you to politely refuse. I considered it, and you looked very confident. If only she knew. Inside, I am approximately 3 squirrels wearing a trench coat. Come back in 40 minutes, I manage. I'll see what I can do. I look forward to it. She wanders toward the skincare section while I stand perfectly still. Then I remember how breathing works. Barely. To avoid looking like I'm staring, I pull out my phone. Mistake. Absolute mistake. My thumb opens Chloe's profile before I can stop myself. Why? Because apparently I enjoy emotional self-harm. New photos.
Wonderful. She's already smiling. I scroll. Vacation pictures, office party, selfie, then family dinner. I freeze. No. No way. I zoom in. Standing beside Chloe is Vivian. Same green eyes, same elegant smile, same impossibly composed posture. My favorite customer, the lawyer, the woman whose headache I'm about to massage. My crush. My stomach drops. I read the caption again. Celebrating my amazing big sister. Couldn't have done it without you. Big sister. Big sister. My phone nearly slips from my hand. Vivian Mercer, Chloe's older sister. I stare across the pharmacy. Vivian is comparing moisturizers with complete concentration, blissfully unaware that my entire universe has just exploded. Of course this would happen to me. What are the odds? Actually, don't answer that. I don't want to know. For several long seconds, pure panic fills my brain. Absolutely not. This is terrible. I have a crush on my cheating ex-girlfriend's older sister. Then, another thought quietly wanders into my consciousness. Wait. If Vivian is Chloe's older sister, and Chloe has spent her entire life being compared to Vivian, and Chloe is secretly jealous of how accomplished Vivian is, a tiny spark lights somewhere deep inside me. It grows, slowly, dangerously. By the time Vivian returns to the counter, the spark has become a fully formed, wonderfully petty idea. I smile sweetly. Inside my head, dramatic orchestral music begins playing. I'm going to date her sister. The thought is so outrageous I almost laugh out loud. It isn't enough for Chloe to lose me. She should have to watch me fall for the one woman she's always believed was untouchable. She should remember every family dinner, every holiday, every birthday, exactly what she threw away. Of course, step 1 is getting Vivian to notice me as something other than her friendly neighborhood pharmacist. Fortunately, I already have 40 minutes of uninterrupted head massage scheduled. Maybe my revenge plan isn't completely impossible after all. 40 minutes later, I clock out, hang my name tag inside my locker, and immediately question every decision that has led me to this moment. Because I'm about to give my crush a head massage. For revenge. Definitely for revenge.
Not because she's beautiful, not because my heart performs gymnastics every time she smiles at me. Those things are entirely unrelated. Probably. I step back onto the pharmacy floor. Vivian is exactly where I left her, seated in the small waiting area with one ankle crossed over the other while reading something on her tablet. She looks up the second she hears my footsteps. "There you are." "I did tell you 40 minutes. "You did. You sound surprised I came back. The legal profession teaches healthy skepticism. I thought it taught arguing. It teaches both. I should have guessed." She slips the tablet into her briefcase and stands. I'm ready whenever my unusually confident pharmacist is. I grin. "Follow me." I lead her around the counter toward the employees-only door. She glances at the sign. Am I about to commit pharmacy trespassing? I'll allow it. Very generous. I know. The hallway behind the pharmacy is much less glamorous than the storefront. Fluorescent lights, white walls, a coffee machine that has survived at least 3 decades out of spite. Vivian looks around with obvious curiosity. I've always wondered what was back here. Disappointment. No? Mostly paperwork. That's even worse. It really is. We walk side by side toward the tiny staff room. For a few moments, comfortable silence settles between us. Then Vivian asks quietly, "You mentioned today had a rough start." I hesitate. I'm trying very hard to not think about it. Fair enough. My current treatment plan involves going home, turning my speakers up far too loud, and listening to Florence and the Machine until my problems become poetic instead of tragic. Vivian stops walking. I nearly walk into her. "You like Florence and the Machine?" I blink. "You do too? You've heard of them?" Something changes in her expression. She actually lights up, not politely. Genuinely. My trial playlist is almost entirely Florence. "No way," she nods. "When a case starts falling apart, I put on Shake It Out." I stare at her. My emotional support song is Cosmic Love. She smiles wider. I wasn't expecting that. Neither was I. Oh no. What? I've found another person who understands my extremely specific coping mechanisms. You mean dramatically staring out windows while Florence Welch sings about emotional devastation? Exactly that. She laughs again. I thought I was the only one. I've spent entire evenings pretending I'm the main character in an indie film. With rain? Mandatory. Cup of tea? Obviously. She nods with complete seriousness. I approve. For some reason, that tiny exchange makes something warm bloom inside my chest. We've known each other for months, yet this is the first time we've talked about anything outside prescriptions and allergies. And somehow it's easy. So, I ask, what does a corporate lawyer do when she's not saving enormous companies? Vivian makes a face. Usually? Work. That's depressing. It is. No hobbies? I own hobbies. Own? I've purchased several books. Reading them would help, I've been told. I laugh. What about friends? Her smile softens. I don't see them often. Family? Occasionally. What steals all your free time? My job. She says it so matter-of-factly that my heart pinches. I've spent years telling myself that once I finish one more case, she shakes her head, there's always one more case. And suddenly 6 months disappear? A frighteningly accurate summary. I glance sideways at her. So you're secretly lonely. She looks genuinely surprised. I suppose I am. Congratulations. For what? You've been diagnosed. By the pharmacist? I'm branching out into emotional medicine. I should be worried? You probably should. She smiles. I don't mind. That smile nearly derails my train of thought. Single, lonely, works too much. Kind. My ridiculous revenge plan suddenly seems not easy, but possible, if I don't embarrass myself first. I open the staff room door. Welcome. Vivian steps inside. The room is tiny. One narrow cot against the wall for employees working overnight inventory, a microwave, a tiny refrigerator, two mismatched chairs, one coffee table with a perpetually dying succulent. Vivian slowly turns in a circle. This is tiny? I was going to say cozy. That's lawyer language for tiny. It is. I gesture proudly. On your left, you'll find our state-of-the-art microwave. She nods solemnly. Impressive. Over here is Steve. She looks at the succulent. Steve? I haven't technically died yet. I admire his determination. And finally, I sweep an arm dramatically toward the cot, our luxury spa. Vivian laughs. I feel underdressed. You'll survive. I trust your professional judgment. I sit near the head of the cot and pat my lap before my brain can remind me that normal people don't casually invite gorgeous women to do this. If you're comfortable. She studies me for a second. Then, without making it awkward, she slips off her blazer, folds it neatly over one of the chairs, and lies down. Carefully. Gracefully. Her head settles onto my lap. My heart immediately forgets its responsibilities. Oh, she's close. Very close. I can count individual eyelashes. Her green eyes meet mine for just a second before she closes them. Like this? Perfect. Please don't hear how breathless I sound. I gently gather the loose strands of her dark hair away from her face. They're impossibly soft. Her cedar and rain scent surrounds me. I've spent months catching faint traces of it across the pharmacy counter. Up close, it's different. Warmer. Comforting. Other alphas I've met always felt overwhelming, their pheromones pressing insistently against my instincts. Vivian's don't. Being this close to her feels less like standing in a thunderstorm and more like sinking into warm bathwater after an exhausting day. To my utter annoyance, I feel myself relaxing almost as much as she's about to. Ready? She nods. I rest my fingertips lightly against her temples. Circles. Gentle pressure. Years ago, my grandmother used to massage my head whenever I came home stressed from exams. She always insisted headaches began in the shoulders long before they reached the temples. So I begin there. My thumbs trace slow lines along the muscles at the base of Vivian's neck. They're incredibly tense. You weren't exaggerating, I murmur. Your shoulders feel like concrete. I've been told that before. I believe it. I continue kneading the tight muscles with careful, steady pressure before returning to her temples, letting my fingertips move in slow circles. Minute by minute, I watch the tension leave her face. The tiny crease between her brows softens, her jaw unclenches, her breathing deepens. She lets out the quietest sigh. I smile to myself. Progress. I think, she murmurs without opening her eyes, you may have missed your calling. I don't think pharmacies would appreciate losing me. They'd recover. I'd miss the employee discount. A compelling argument. She sounds sleepier now, the kind of sleepy that only comes after finally letting yourself stop carrying the weight of the day. I smooth my fingers lightly through her hair before returning to the pressure points around her scalp. I didn't realize how much this hurt, she says softly. You've probably been ignoring it. I ignore most things until deadlines pass. I noticed. You've known me long enough to notice? I've noticed a lot. The words slip out before I can stop them. A warm silence follows. Not awkward, just comfortable. She opens one eye. You pay attention. I work in healthcare. I don't think that's the reason. Heat climbs into my cheeks. Maybe she's right. After another few minutes, Vivian lets out a contented breath that almost sounds like a laugh. My headache is gone. Really? Almost completely. She opens both eyes now, looking up at me with an expression so relaxed I barely recognize her. She looks peaceful, like someone finally gave herself permission to rest. A ridiculous swell of pride fills my chest. I did that. I made her day a little better. She sits up slowly, turning to me. I owe you. You don't owe me anything. I disagree. She picks up her blazer. You took care of me after what sounds like an awful day. Then she smiles. I'd like to return the favor. My opportunity arrives so perfectly that it almost feels scripted. I pretend to think very hard. Vivian waits patiently. I suppose, I clear my throat, you could take me to dinner. For one terrifying second, she simply looks at me. Then her smile grows. I was hoping you'd say that. You were? I've wanted an excuse to spend more time talking to you. My pulse stumbles. Really? You make even headache treatments entertaining. I have many talents. I've noticed. She reaches into her briefcase and pulls out a business card, writing something on the back before handing it to me. My personal number. I stare at it, then at her. If tomorrow evening works, it does. Wonderful. She slips her blazer back on. I know a little Italian restaurant that's excellent. I grin so hard my cheeks hurt. Vivian holds my gaze for a heartbeat before answering with quiet certainty. I can't wait, I whisper, excited that I'm finally about to get revenge on the beta who broke my heart.
Chapter 2. Estelle. There are normal ways to prepare for a first date. Picking an outfit, brushing your hair, trying not to embarrass yourself. Then there's whatever it is I'm doing. My laptop is open. My phone is open. 3 tabs have become 31. My dining table looks less like the home of a pharmacy technician and more like the headquarters of a woman plotting a corporate takeover, which isn't entirely inaccurate. I click on another search result. Corporate lawyers. Average work schedule. 60-hour weeks. I nod to myself. Explains the headache. Next tab. Best wine pairings for Italian food. Next. Common alpha personality traits. Next. How omega pheromones influence alpha behavior. I pause. This one is particularly interesting. Apparently, scent becomes more noticeable with trust, proximity, and physical comfort. Repeated positive interactions can strengthen subconscious associations. So, if Vivian already associates my scent with relaxation, and she already trusts me enough to rest in my lap, then no. I close the tab, then immediately open it again. This is research, entirely scientific, definitely not me figuring out how to seduce my cheating ex's older sister. A tiny voice in the back of my head whispers, "That's exactly what you're doing." I ignore it. Instead, I make a list. Operation Seduce Vivian. 1. Smell nice. 2. Be funny. 3. Maintain eye contact. 4. Accidental hand touching. 5. Don't accidentally confess you're using her to get revenge. That one seems especially important. An hour later, my bedroom resembles a clothing store after a tornado. I hold up dress number 4. No, too formal. Dress number 5. No, too casual. Sweater? Absolutely not. Tonight requires strategy. Eventually, I settle on a soft emerald green wrap dress. It isn't revealing, not exactly. The neckline rests just low enough to hint at my collarbones. The sleeves end above my elbows. The skirt reaches my knees. The fabric hugs my waist before flowing softly around my hips.
I'd read somewhere that alphas tend to notice an omega's neck, wrists, and waist instinctively. I'm choosing to believe that's completely irrelevant. Mostly. I twist in front of the mirror. You look normal. A pause. Normal-ish. Good enough. The restaurant is tucked between an old bookstore and a florist downtown. Warm, yellow lights glow behind enormous windows. The sign above the entrance simply reads, Luca's. Vivian is already waiting outside. For one glorious second, I don't recognize her because she's wearing a dress. A black one. Backless, elegant, simple. The fabric drapes effortlessly over her tall frame before disappearing into a flowing skirt. Her long, dark hair falls loose tonight instead of being pinned up. The evening breeze catches it gently. She looks less like an attorney, more like the woman attorneys secretly wished they looked like. Movie stars have nothing on her. She notices me, smiles, and suddenly my carefully rehearsed greeting evaporated. Oh, brilliant. Outstanding conversational skills. She laughs softly. Hello to you too. I recover. Please recover. You look amazing. Heat rises into her cheeks. So do you. Then she steps closer, close enough that her scent reaches me fully. Cedar, rain, something citrusy tonight. It wraps around me gently. Nothing like the aggressive alpha pheromones I've experienced before. No pressure, no instinct screaming at me, just comfort, safety. My omega practically sighs. Dangerous, very dangerous. I swallow. Estelle, remember why you're here. Revenge, not romance.
Definitely not romance. Because if I keep staring at Chloe's sister like this, I'm going to become the punchline in my own revenge story. Vivian tilts her head. Everything okay? Perfectly. You've been looking at me for almost 20 seconds. Have I? You have. I smile sheepishly. I got distracted. By... I gesture vaguely toward all of her. You. She laughs again. I'll accept that answer. The restaurant smells like garlic, rosemary, and freshly baked bread. Soft jazz drifts through the room. Candles flicker on every table. An open kitchen lets them watch chefs toss pasta through the air with practiced ease. This place is beautiful, I say. I hoped you'd like it. I already do. A waiter appears. Vivian gestures toward the wine list. Do you drink wine? Occasionally. I'll choose something light. She studies the menu with surprising seriousness. Meanwhile, I'm studying her. She catches me. Do I have something on my face? No. Then? I was wondering how someone who argues for a living manages to look this calm. I argue professionally. So you're saying you save the dramatic arguments for your personal life. I avoid those. Smart. What about you? I narrate mine internally. I suspected as much. Bread arrives. Warm, fresh, served with whipped herb butter. I tear off a piece. It practically melts. Oh, Vivian smiles knowingly. I remember that expression. This ravioli deserves awards. It probably has some. I'd vote for it. I imagined you would. Conversation drifts effortlessly from food to work. Then Vivian asks, what made you become a pharmacist? The question stills something inside me. I look down at my fork. I didn't. She waits, patiently. I wanted to become a doctor. Her expression softens. What happened? I laugh quietly, not because it's funny, because sometimes laughing hurts less. I graduated near the top of my class. She nods. I applied to medical school 3 times. Another nod. My interview scores were excellent. Estelle, I continue before I lose my nerve. One interviewer actually told me I'd make an excellent physician. Then why weren't you accepted? I meet her eyes.
They had enough Omega students. Silence. Heavy silence. They wanted more Alpha applicants. Vivian slowly sets down her fork. What? Our acceptance rates are different. That's illegal. It's common. No. It happens. No, she repeats, firmer this time. What happened to you was discrimination. I shrug. They always find another justification. They shouldn't have to. It would have cost more to challenge than my family could afford. Vivian's jaw tightens. As a lawyer, she pauses. Hearing that makes me angry. I smile sadly. I know. You should have been judged on merit. I stopped expecting that. No, she shakes her head. You deserved fairness. Something in my chest loosens. Nobody has ever said that before. Most people simply tell me life isn't fair. Vivian looks genuinely offended on my behalf. The feeling is unexpectedly comforting. You know, she says quietly, I spend my career arguing that rules matter. She looks directly at me. When people with power misuse them, her voice hardens, they should be challenged. I find myself smiling. You really believe that? I do. And relationships. She blinks. What about them? What matters most? She thinks for a second. Honesty. Only honesty? It's the foundation. She smiles faintly. My previous girlfriend had access to one of my credit cards for emergencies. Ouch. She used it for shopping. Without asking? For almost 6 months. My eyebrows shoot upward. Vivian. I know. That's awful. It wasn't the money. No. It was discovering she'd been lying every week. I nod slowly. I think once trust disappears, everything else follows. Exactly. The words leave us sitting in thoughtful silence. Finally, I sigh. I understand. She looks up. My girlfriend cheated on me. Realization flashes across her face. Yesterday? I nod. That's why I was in such a wonderful mood. Oh, Estelle. The sympathy in her voice almost undoes me. I'm so sorry. I'll survive. I'm sure you will. She smiles gently. Because any woman foolish enough to cheat on someone like you is making a terrible decision. Heat blooms across my face. Someone like me? You're kind. She counts on her fingers. Funny. Another finger. Thoughtful. Another. And extremely attractive. I nearly choke on my wine. Vivian. What? You're embarrassing me. I'm complimenting you. It's working. Good. Without really thinking, I notice her hand resting beside her plate. Long fingers, elegant, strong. I reach across the table, place my hand lightly over hers. The contact is warm, soft. Her breath catches. She looks down, then back at me. A faint blush spreads across her cheeks. Success. Tiny, but unmistakable. Inside, I do a small victory dance. Maybe my research wasn't completely useless. She doesn't move her hand away. Instead, her thumb brushes lightly against mine. Just once. So, she says after a moment, I've discovered something. What? I enjoy spending time with you. The words are simple, sincere. They make something flutter inside my chest. I was hoping you'd say that. I'd like to see you again. My heart immediately agrees before my brain can participate. I'd like that. She smiles. Remember those pastries I brought you? The best pastries I've ever eaten. They came from a bakery a few blocks from my office. Her eyes brighten. They also make extraordinary hot chocolate. You're trying to tempt me. Is it working? Very much. Would you let me take you there this weekend? I grin so hard my cheeks hurt. I'd love that. Inside, fireworks explode. Operation Seduce Vivian is going wonderfully. The only small problem is that somewhere between the headache massage, emotional bread, and shared Florence and the Machine songs, I'm no longer entirely sure I'm pretending to like Chloe's sister. And that realization is far more frightening than anything I'd researched all afternoon. Chapter 3. Estelle. It turns out corporate lawyers text like they're filing emotionally devastating legal documents. I discover this 3 days after our dinner, at exactly 8:17 a.m. Vivian. My client has described a legally binding contract as more of a suggestion. I smile into my cereal. Me. Have you considered replacing him? 3 dots appear almost immediately. I wasn't expecting that. I'd assumed Vivian would disappear into meetings for 12 hours and emerge sometime around midnight. Instead, she texts. Frequently. Vivian. Unfortunately, clients are not exchangeable. Me. Sounds like a design flaw. Vivian. I've raised this concern with management. I laugh out loud. 5 minutes later, another message arrives. Vivian. Management informed me I am management. Me. That's deeply unfortunate. By lunch, we've somehow started narrating our workdays to each other. Me. A customer just asked whether vitamins can prevent her husband from becoming annoying. Vivian. Can they? Me. Sadly, no. Vivian. There goes my retirement plan. An hour later. Vivian. Opposing counsel has just argued that deadlines are an oppressive social construct. I stare at the screen. Me? ... Me. Please tell me you're joking. Vivian. I wish I were. Me. Did the judge laugh? Vivian. Internally, I hope. By Thursday morning, I'm waiting for the next message, which feels suspiciously like a habit. My phone buzzes while I'm stocking allergy medication. Vivian. Coffee has stopped working. Me. Have you tried crying? Vivian. In the office? Me. Builds character. Vivian. Human resources disagrees. Around noon. Me. A man just whispered to me that the government hides the good cough syrup. Vivian. Does it? Me. I'm legally forbidden from revealing state secrets. She reacts with a laughing emoji. Then, thank you. I blink. Me. For? Vivian. You've made today considerably more entertaining. Something warm settles quietly inside my chest. Without realizing it, we've stopped talking only about work. She tells me about the stray cat that waits outside her office every morning. I tell her about Mrs. Henderson, who brings homemade cookies to the pharmacy every Friday because she says we're keeping old people operational. Vivian sends me pictures of rain outside the courthouse. I send her pictures of Steve the succulent, who somehow remains technically alive. Vivian. Steve has impressive resilience. Me. He's powered entirely by spite. Vivian. I respect him. Thursday evening, I make the mistake of opening social media. Chloe's newest post appears immediately. A smiling selfie. Her arm wrapped around the woman she'd cheated on me with. Finally official. For a long moment, I simply stare. A week ago, this would have ruined my evening. She never posted pictures of us, not once. Whenever I asked, she'd laugh and say she liked keeping her private life private. Apparently, private meant me. I wait for the familiar ache, for the anger, for the jealousy. Instead, nothing. Not because it doesn't matter, because somehow my thoughts drift elsewhere, to cedarwood, to Florence and the Machine, to expensive pastries, to a woman who somehow remembers to ask whether I've eaten lunch. I smile before I realize I'm smiling. Then I lock my phone. Maybe I've already started moving on. Friday night. I'm covering the late shift. The pharmacy grows strangely peaceful after 9. Fewer customers, softer lighting. The hum of refrigerators becomes louder than conversation. I finish organizing prescriptions when the automatic doors slide open. I don't need to look up. I recognize her scent first. Cedar. Rain. But tonight, something's different. It's fainter, frayed around the edges, like even her scent is tired. Vivian walks inside. For one terrifying second, I barely recognize her. Her hair has escaped its usual neat style. Dark circles shadow her eyes. Her blouse is slightly wrinkled beneath her blazer. She looks exhausted. She smiles anyway. Good evening. My chest hurts. What happened to you? She laughs quietly. I've been preparing for trial. For how long? She thinks. 36 hours. I blink. Vivian. I slept. When? Tuesday? That's not an answer. It's the closest one I have. She leans one hand against the counter. Only then do I notice how heavily she's supporting herself. Headache? Shoulders? Worse. When did you last eat? A pause. Breakfast. It's nearly 10. I've been busy. I point towards one of the pharmacy chairs. Sit. She obeys immediately. No argument. That worries me more than if she'd protested. I'll be right back. The pharmacy has a tiny staff kettle. 5 minutes later, I return carrying hot chamomile tea and the emergency soup cup I keep in my locker. I place both in front of her. She looks at them. Then at me. I didn't order food. You don't have to. Estelle, drink. She smiles tiredly. Yes, ma'am. Watching Vivian eat instant soup somehow becomes one of the most satisfying moments of my week. She actually looks embarrassed. I normally take much better care of myself. I believe you. I've simply, she sighs, forgotten I'm a person this week. The sentence lands heavily between us. I quietly slide another packet of crackers toward her. She accepts them with a grateful smile. By the time we close the pharmacy, she looks marginally more alive. Head massage? I ask. She smiles immediately. I was hoping you might offer. The tiny staff room somehow feels even cozier tonight. Steve still appears committed to surviving. The microwave still looks vaguely threatening. Vivian hangs her blazer over the chair without being asked this time. Same arrangement? She asks. I nod. If you're comfortable. I am. She lies down. Her head settles naturally into my lap, like she's done it 100 times instead of once. Something about that realization makes my heartbeat stumble. I slide my fingers gently into her hair. This bad? Worse. I begin with slow circles against her temples. She sighs almost immediately. There it is. What? The magic. I don't think massages are magic. This one is. I smile despite myself. You exaggerate. I joke when I'm awake. 2. Fair point. The muscles beneath my fingertips slowly loosen. Her breathing evens out. I move to her shoulders. They're impossibly tight. You carry your entire law firm here, I murmur. They'd probably deny it. I'll write them a strongly worded letter. I'll represent you. I thought lawyers weren't supposed to sue themselves. We're remarkably adaptable. We both laugh softly. Then silence settles. Comfortable silence. The kind that doesn't ask to be filled. Eventually, Vivian speaks again. So, I've started looking forward to your messages. My hands pause for just a second, then continue. You have? I'll be in meetings. She closes her eyes.
Then my phone buzzes. A sleepy smile appears. And suddenly, there's a story about someone asking whether antibiotics cure bad luck. I had that customer. I know. She lets out a contented sigh. You brighten my days. The words hit me far harder than I expect. I do? You really do. Her voice grows quieter. I don't actually talk to many people outside work anymore. I don't answer. She continues anyway. I've realized, a long pause, I find myself wanting to tell you about my day. My chest tightens. I want to know about yours too. She reaches up without opening her eyes, finds my hand, intertwines our fingers. The gesture feels instinctive, natural, like she'd forgotten to think before doing it. I'm becoming rather fond of seeing your name appear on my phone. My heart forgets how to function. Vivian. Another pause. So don't disappear. The words are barely louder than a whisper. Then she falls asleep, just like that, still holding my hand, still resting against me. I look down at her peaceful face. The tiny line between her brows has disappeared. She looks younger somehow, softer, safe. Something shifts quietly inside me. This isn't revenge anymore. Not really. I could pretend it is. I could keep telling myself this is all part of some elaborate plan to make Chloe regret cheating. But sitting here, watching Vivian sleep after working herself to exhaustion, feeling her fingers loosely wrapped around mine, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. I don't want to hurt Chloe anymore. I want Vivian to be happy. The realization should make me feel relieved. Instead, it fills me with dread. Because there's one enormous problem. Vivian still doesn't know who I am. Not really. She doesn't know I dated her younger sister. She doesn't know I've known who she is since the afternoon she walked into my pharmacy. She doesn't know every dinner, every conversation, every laugh we've shared has been shallowed by a truth I haven't yet found the courage to tell her. If this becomes something real, family birthdays, holiday dinners, celebrations, Chloe would be there every time. The thought twists painfully in my stomach. How could any relationship survive that? I look down at the sleeping woman in my lap. She'd told me honesty matters more than anything, and I'm already failing the person who's somehow become the brightest part of my day. I gently brush a loose strand of hair away from her face. I'm sorry, I whisper, though she can't hear me. I think I'm falling for you. Outside, the pharmacy sits quiet under the glow of fluorescent lights. Inside the tiny staff room, Vivian's fingers tighten fightly around mine in her sleep. And for the first time since I caught Chloe cheating, the future doesn't scare me because of heartbreak. It scares me because I finally have something precious enough to lose.
Chapter 4. Vivian. There are very few things capable of making me leave the office before 8 in the evening. A court order, a building fire, possibly divine intervention, and, as it turns out, a text from Estelle. My phone buzzes while I'm proofreading a witness statement for the 5th time. Estelle, don't make me eat all the pastries by myself. I smile before I can stop myself. Across the conference table, 3 associates stare as though they've just witnessed a solar eclipse. One of them clears his throat. Ms. Mercer? You, he hesitates. Smiled. I do that occasionally. I've worked here 4 years. Congratulations. I've never seen it before. I quietly lock my phone. You should all go home. 3 pairs of eyes widen. Really? The contracts will still exist tomorrow. They continue staring. Is this a trick? Another asks. No. Should we call someone? I laugh. Actually laugh. Poor things. I've become such a workaholic that basic happiness now constitutes suspicious behavior.
20 minutes later, I'm walking toward Bellamore Patisserie carrying absolutely no case files. It feels strangely liberating. Estelle is already waiting outside. She's wearing a cream sweater tucked into dark jeans, her short auburn hair catching the golden glow spilling through the bakery windows. The moment she notices me, her entire face lights up. No one has ever looked genuinely happy to see me before. Not like that. Hi. Hello. You escaped work. I escaped. I'm proud of you. I deserve a medal. I'll buy you a croissant. I was hoping for at least 2. She laughs. I think we can arrange that. Without thinking, I reach for her hand. She looks down as our fingers intertwine, then back up at me. A small smile curves across her lips. Natural. Easy. As though we'd been holding hands for years instead of seconds. The realization settles warmly somewhere behind my ribs. Bellamore smells like butter, vanilla, coffee, and happiness. Glass display cases sparkle beneath warm lighting. Every pastry looks like a tiny work of art. Estelle presses both hands against the glass dramatically. I remember these. I thought you might. You ruined ordinary bakeries for me. I apologize. You absolutely don't. She points. I want that. The pistachio tart? Yes. And that? The raspberry millefeuille? Obviously. And she squints. What even is that? The chocolate hazelnut entremet. I don't know what an entremet is. Neither do I. Excellent. We'll buy 2. By the time we reach the register, we've accumulated 6 pastries between us. The cashier smiles knowingly. Celebrating something? Estelle glances at me. I answer before she can. Time together. The words surprise me as much as they seem to surprise Estelle. She ducks her head, smiling. I pay before she can protest. Outside, the evening air is cool. The city glows around us. Streetlights paint golden pools across the pavement, while office buildings shimmer against the darkening sky. Instead of finding somewhere formal to sit, we simply wander, one pastry box balanced carefully between us. This, Estelle declares after her first bite, is life-changing. I said that last time. It was true then. She offers me half of her raspberry pastry. Try. I lean closer. She feeds me the bite herself. You're right. I know. You look unbearably pleased. I am. The city becomes quieter as we walk farther from downtown. Conversation drifts naturally, from pastries to music to childhood. What were you like? Estelle asks. As a child? She nods. I think about it. Responsible. At 6? My parents believed responsibility should begin early. She winces. That sounds exhausting. It was. I stare ahead. My father always said that as the eldest alpha, I represented the family. She listens without interrupting. If I received 98% on an exam, I smile faintly. He asked where the missing 2% had gone. Estelle's expression falls. Vivian, I became very good at succeeding, and very bad at resting. I nod. Perfection eventually stops feeling like an achievement. What does it become? The minimum. Silence stretches between us. I spent my 20s trying to earn approval that never actually came. I laugh quietly. And somewhere along the way, you forgot how to live? I think I did. Estelle reaches over and squeezes my hand. I'm sorry. It's all right. No. She shakes her head. It isn't. Something in her certainty warms me. You know, I continue, I was engaged once. She looks surprised. You were? I nod. 5 years ago. What happened? We loved each other. I smile sadly. But eventually, she said, I swallow. I'm tired of competing with your work for my attention. Estelle's fingers tighten around mine. I thought I was building a future for us. What were you actually building? My career. The answer hurts because it's true. When she left, I stared toward the river. I wondered whether she was right. Were you? I don't know. I laugh softly. I'm 30. She immediately frowns. 30 isn't old. I know, but sometimes the words escape before I can stop them.
I worry I've worked so much that I'll wake up one day and discover everyone else has already built their families. My voice grows quieter, and I'll have missed my chance. Estelle stops walking. She turns toward me completely. I don't believe that. No? No. Her eyes shine with quiet conviction. Someone as kind as you deserves a family. Emotion catches unexpectedly in my throat. I hope you're right. I know I am. We sit on a stone wall overlooking the river. The pastry box rests between us. I nudge it toward her. Your turn. Your turn? Tell me something you've never told me. She grows unusually quiet. Then, I always feel... She stares at the water. Replaceable. I don't answer. She isn't finished. I've never been the smartest, the prettiest, the richest, the most successful. She laughs without humor. I'm just... She searches for the word. Ordinary. No. My whole life, she shrugs. I felt like people eventually realize there's someone better. My heart aches. So they leave. I immediately reach for both her hands. Estelle. She finally looks at me. There is nothing ordinary about you. She blinks. I knew there was something special about you the very first day we met. You barely knew me. I knew how gently you treated every customer, how you remembered names, how you smiled even when you were clearly exhausted. I brush my thumb lightly across her knuckles. You make people feel seen. My voice softens. You certainly made me feel seen. She stares at me, speechless. I look forward to your messages. I leave work earlier because I know I'm meeting you. I've started noticing beautiful things because I want to tell you about them. I laugh quietly. Do you realize what you've done to me? Her cheeks turn pink. I whisper, you've become my favorite part of the week. The blush deepens. She looks so wonderfully flustered that I can't help smiling. I whisper, I'm rather attracted to you. Before I can lose my courage, I lean forward, slowly, giving her every opportunity to move away. She doesn't. Our lips meet in the gentlest kiss I've shared in years. Soft, careful, brief. When we separate, she's staring at me as though I've just rearranged the stars. Neither of us speaks. Then I notice just how red her face has become. Her breathing sounds uneven. Estelle? Yeah? She swallows. You're blushing an alarming amount. She laughs nervously. She closes her eyes for a second. Your scent. My scent? She grips my sleeve. It's suddenly much stronger. Concern replaces amusement. Are you all right? She takes one step. Her knees buckle. I catch her instantly. Her body trembles against mine. Then I smell it. Honey, vanilla, fresh pears. The sweet omega scent I'd grown quietly fond of over the past weeks suddenly blossoms around us with startling intensity. My heartbeat stutters. Oh, her suppressants. She fumbles weakly through her bag. My suppressants. She stares at the packet. They're not working. Understanding settles over me. You're going into heat. She nods once, clearly frustrated more than frightened. I wasn't due. Can you get home? Barely. Then we're leaving.
Her apartment is only 15 minutes away. The taxi ride feels much longer. I keep one arm around her shoulders as she leans against me, embarrassed. I'm sorry. You've apologized 6 times. I know. You don't have to. She gives me a miserable little smile. I planned a nice evening. You succeeded. This wasn't part of the plan. No. I tuck a loose strand of hair behind her ear. But we'll manage this part too. The moment we step inside, Estelle lets out a shaky breath. My bedroom. I help her inside. She points toward a closet. Blankets. I retrieve them. Pillows. I bring those too. My oversized hoodie. I smile. The blue one? She nods. Please. Piece by piece, we build a cozy nest on the floor beside her bed. Blankets layered carefully, soft pillows arranged exactly the way she asks, a weighted blanket, several stuffed animals.
a cardigan that apparently smells like home. When we finish, she looks at it with sleepy satisfaction. Perfect. I'm glad. She crawls into the center before looking up at me. Vivian? Yes? A tiny pause. Will you stay? Something in my chest expands so suddenly it almost hurts. I don't want to be alone. You won't be. She hesitates. Would you... Her cheeks pinken again. Sleep here with me? Not as an invitation, not as anything romantic, just trust, the kind that asks only for comfort. I smile. I'd be honored. I settle beside her on top of the blankets. She immediately scoots closer until her head rests against my lap, as though she'd been planning it all along. Her shoulders slowly relax. So warm, she murmurs. I gently stroke her hair. You did wonderfully today. She yawns. I ruined it. You absolutely did not. I kissed you. A sleepy smile appears. I'm glad. So am I. She nuzzles a little closer. Being with you... Her words begin to blur with exhaustion. Already feels... Another yawn. Like... Her eyes close. Home. The last word is barely audible. Within moments, her breathing evens out. She falls asleep curled against me, trusting me completely. I look down at the woman sleeping peacefully in the nest we'd built together. A few weeks ago, she was simply the pharmacist who always remembered my allergy medication. Now, I can't imagine my days without her. I continue stroking her hair until I feel myself smiling. For the first time in years, the future doesn't feel like an endless series of court dates and contracts. It feels like warm blankets, fresh pastries, shared laughter, and an auburn-haired Omega who somehow makes every place she occupies feel a little more like home.
Chapter 5. Monday mornings are usually predictable. Coffee, court filings, emails, someone asking me to just quickly look over a 200-page contract. Today, however, there is one glaring difference. My phone hasn't buzzed once. Not from her. I tell myself not to read into it. Estelle just went through an unexpected heat. She's probably resting, recovering, catching up on sleep. She also spent most of it curled against me. Then she kissed me. Then I kissed her. Then she fell asleep in my lap after telling me I felt like home. Perhaps she's embarrassed. Perhaps she regrets it. The second possibility sits unpleasantly in my chest. I make it until 11 before giving up. I open our message thread. Our last conversation is from 3 days ago. The silence feels much louder than it should. I type, delete, type again, delete again. Finally, I decide honesty has gotten me much farther than pretending indifference ever has. Good morning. 3 dots appear almost instantly, then disappear, then return. She's overthinking. That makes me smile. Hi. 3 periods. Definitely overthinking. I've concluded that one of us has been avoiding the other. Nothing. 5 seconds. 10. Finally, it was me. I laugh quietly. I suspected as much. I'm sorry. For what? The typing bubble appears, stops, starts again. Everything. My heat, you taking care of me falling asleep on you, me asking you to stay, existing. I shake my head. Existing is strongly encouraged. A laughing emoji appears. Progress. Estelle, you have absolutely nothing to apologize for. A long pause. You don't think I embarrassed myself? Not even slightly. Really, you're an Amanda. You cannot schedule your heats around my calendar. I wait.
Then, laughing emoji. That's actually a very lawyer thing to say. We appreciate orderly scheduling. I'll notify biology next time. Another pause. I meant what I said. None of it changed how I feel about you. Silence. Long enough that I wonder if I've said too much. Then, how do you feel about me? No point retreating now. I'd like to take you on an official date. 3 dots. Disappear, return, disappear again. Poor thing. I can almost picture her staring at her phone, so I continue. To be perfectly clear, I am asking you on an actual romantic date. And yes, if you're willing, I would very much like to kiss you again. This time it takes nearly a full minute. Then, Vivian Mercer. Yes. Do you always negotiate like this? Only when the outcome matters. Another minute. Finally, I'd really like that too. My heart gives one impossibly happy thump. Wonderful. Botanical garden. Is this because lawyers secretly become elderly people on weekends? We enjoy flowers. You're adorable. I stare at that message. Adorable. No one has ever called me adorable. I decide I rather like it. Saturday arrives bright and warm. The botanical garden smells of fresh earth and blooming flowers. Spring has transformed every path into a riot of color. Estelle is already waiting near the entrance, wearing a pale blue sundress beneath a light cardigan. The moment she sees me, she smiles. No hesitation, no awkwardness, just happiness. Something inside me relaxes. You came. You sounded rather determined. I was. She laughs. I'm glad. So am I. For a heart bait, we simply stand there, neither of us quite sure how to begin. Then Estelle slips her hand into mine. Naturally, like she'd forgotten to ask permission, I gently squeeze her fingers. She smiles without looking at me. I've been wanting to do that. So have I.
The gardens stretch for acres. Rose gardens, Japanese maples, lily ponds, towering glass greenhouses. Everywhere we turn, butterflies drift lazily between blossoms. Estelle stops beside a small display. Oh, what? She points excitedly. Foxglove. I blink. Should I know what that is? It contains compounds that led to medicines used to treat certain heart conditions. I smile. There she is. Who? My pharmacist. She grins. I can't help it. We continue walking. She points towards another display. And that's willow. The tree? The bark contains salicin. I raise an eyebrow. Which eventually inspired aspirin. Really? She nods enthusiastically. The original pain relief discoveries often came from plants, long before modern pharmaceutical manufacturing. I feel like I'm receiving a guided tour. You are. I approve. A little further on, we stop in front of a display about molds. Estelle smiles. This one's fun. I'm almost afraid to ask. Penicillin was originally discovered from the mold Penicillium. So, I gesture toward the exhibit. So one of medicine's greatest discoveries began with mold? She nods proudly. Sometimes nature accidentally saves millions of lives. I shake my head. I love listening to you. You do? You become animated. You wave your hands. You smile. I laugh softly. I think I learn more because you're excited. Pink spreads across her cheeks. I've missed you. The words leave my mouth before I can reconsider. She looks up. I missed you too. We spend hours wandering, watching butterflies land on flowers, reading plaques, laughing whenever I confidently mispronounce Latin plant names. You sound like you're summoning demons. I object.
Sustained. I'm the lawyer. I'm the pharmacist. I outrank you here. I laugh so hard, nearby visitors glance over. Eventually, we buy ice cream. Mine melts faster than I can eat it. Estelle quietly wipes a drop from the corner of my mouth with a napkin. There. I stare at her. She freezes. Too familiar? No. I smile. Just very nice. By late afternoon, we find ourselves sitting beneath an enormous oak tree. Neither of us speaks. We don't need to. Our shoulders rest lightly against one another. I turn towards her. So what? I believe I requested something. She pretends to think. I can't remember. A kiss. Oh, she smiles mischievously. That. If you're still willing. Instead of answering, she leans towards me. Our lips meet softly beneath the shade of the tree. No urgency, no pheromones, no heat. Just two women choosing each other. When we separate, she's smiling. I like you too. My heart feels absurdly light. I was hoping you'd say that. On the walk back towards the entrance, an idea occurs to me. My family has Sunday dinner every week. She smiles. That sounds nice. It is. I hesitate. I'd like you to come. She stops walking. The color drains from her face. No. Confusion replaces my smile. No? She looks down. I can't. Why not? Silence. Long enough that I begin imagining terrible possibilities. Finally, she whispers. Because, another long breath. Because I used to date your younger sister. Everything around us seems to stop. My mind races. Chloe? Estelle? What? She nods miserably. We dated for 2 years. I blink. Then another realization arrives. Your girlfriend, she nods again, was Chloe. Yes. A dozen conversations suddenly make sense. The bad day, the breakup, the sadness in her eyes when we first became close. I didn't know. I know. She hugs herself. I found out you were Chloe's sister the day you came into the pharmacy after we broke up. I absorbed that quietly. So, I ask gently, why did you break up? Her eyes shine. She cheated. Anger flashes through me so quickly it surprises even me.
She what? Estelle nods once. I caught her. I let out a slow breath. Then I step closer. Without hesitation, I wrap my arms around her. She melts against me. So that's why you were crying inside that day, I murmur. She nods into my shoulder. I thought I'd hidden it. You smiled. I stroke her back gently. But your eyes looked heartbroken. She laughs weakly. I'm sorry. No. I pull back just enough to look at her. Chloe was an idiot. A surprised laugh escapes her. I'm serious. If she cheated on someone as wonderful as you, I shake my head. That's entirely her loss. Estelle studies me. You still want me to meet your family? Of course. But Chloe will have to live with the consequences of her own choices. I smile. My parents will adore you. My grandmother will probably try to feed you until you can't move. Estelle laughs. My younger cousins will definitely recruit you into board games. And me? I tuck a loose strand of auburn hair behind her ear. I'd simply like everyone I love to meet the woman who's making me happier than I've been in years. Her eyes widen. Then, slowly, she smiles. I think, she intertwines our fingers again. I think I'd like that. Together, we continue down the garden path, hand in hand, the future suddenly feeling much less frightening than it had that morning.
Chapter 6. Estelle. I've never spent 23 minutes comparing jam, yet here I am, standing in the gourmet section of a specialty grocery store, staring at approximately 47 tiny jars while contemplating whether raspberry preserves communicate, "Nice to meet your family," or "I'm trying too hard." I glance down at my shopping basket. Artisan tea, locally roasted coffee, honey, fresh sourdough.
The jam. I'm bringing enough food to survive a natural disaster, I mutter. An elderly woman beside me nods sympathetically. Meeting the parents? Is that obvious? She pats my shoulder. Oh, sweetheart. Apparently it is. Back at my apartment, I change outfits 4 times. Sweater. No. Blue dress. Too formal. Green cardigan. Too casual. Eventually, I settle on a cream blouse tucked into a navy skirt with comfortable flats. Friendly. Approachable. Not trying too hard. I stare into the mirror. You can do this. Mirror Estelle looks unconvinced. Vivian arrives exactly at noon. She knocks once before letting herself in. The moment she sees me, she stops moving. What? You look beautiful. Heat rushes into my face. You've said that every time you've seen me this week. And? It can't still surprise you. It does. She smiles. You always blush. I blame your alpha pheromones. I thought they were gentle. They are. I step closer. They're also attached to you. Her laugh immediately calms my nerves. Almost. Then I remember where we're going. I am absolutely terrified. She reaches for my hand. My family already likes you. They've never met me. My mother has. I blink. What? I've talked about you. Vivian. My grandmother knows your name. Vivian? My cousins are excited. Vivian? She laughs. What exactly have you told them? The truth. Which is that I met the sweetest pharmacist in the city. I look away to hide another blush. That's unfair. I know. The Mercer house sits at the edge of a quiet neighborhood lined with old maple trees. It's large without feeling intimidating. Lived in. Flower boxes beneath each window, wind chimes on the porch. Someone has hung tiny painted butterflies around the garden. The front door opens before we've even reached it. A woman with Vivian's green eyes beams at us. There you are. She immediately pulls Vivian into a hug. My darling. Then she turns to me. And you must be Estelle. Before I can respond, she hugs me too. Oh, she laughs warmly. I'm Eleanor, Vivian's mother. It's so lovely to finally meet you. Finally? She notices my confusion. You've accomplished something remarkable. I have? She smiles at her daughter. This stubborn child hasn't attended Sunday dinner in 6 months. Vivian groans. Mother? What? You had time. She pats Vivian's cheek. Then suddenly this week you called asking what dessert everyone liked because someone special was coming. My face reaches approximately the temperature of the sun. Vivian clears her throat. I may have mentioned you. You think? Eleanor links her arm with mine. Come inside. I already approve. Vivian sighs dramatically. You've known her 12 seconds. I have excellent instincts. The house smells incredible. Roast chicken, fresh herbs, homemade bread, something sweet baking in the oven. Children race through the hallway at an alarming speed. Viv! 2 little girls throw themselves at Vivian simultaneously. She somehow catches both. When did you 2 become this tall? We didn't. You got shorter. I laugh. One girl notices me. Who's that? Vivian smiles. This is Estelle. The younger one grins. Hi. The older one points at my gift basket. Is that food? Emma, someone calls. What? Don't interrogate the guests. I was asking important questions. Vivian leans closer. My cousins, they're 6 and 8. They're delightful. They're exhausting. I'm both, Emma proudly announces. The kitchen somehow contains even more people. An uncle stirring gravy, an aunt setting plates, someone arguing passionately about mashed potatoes.
In the center of it all sits an elderly woman with silver hair arranged in an elegant bun. She spots Vivian. "There you are." Then she notices me. "Oh." Her entire face softens. "You brought the pretty one." Vivian coughs. "Grandma." "What?" The older woman beckons me closer. "I've been waiting to meet you." I kneel beside her chair. "It's lovely to meet you too." She immediately pats my cheek. "Too skinny." "Oh no," Vivian mutters. "It begins." Grandma stands with surprising energy. "Sit. I'll feed you." No arguments. 5 minutes later, my plate contains enough food for 3 adults. "I'm never leaving this table," I whisper. Vivian smiles. "I warned you." Grandma nods approvingly. "Good." She leans closer. "Since you're a pharmacist," Vivian immediately pinches her bridge of her nose, "could you get me stronger sleeping tablets?" "Grandma," Vivian says patiently. "What?" "That's illegal." "They'd help." "No." Grandma turns to me. "What if nobody found out?" I open my mouth. Vivian beats me to it. "I am not letting my girlfriend go to prison because you refuse to see your own doctor." Silence. Then Grandma smiles. "My granddaughter called you her girlfriend." I choke on my water. Vivian freezes. The entire kitchen goes suspiciously quiet. Emma gasps dramatically. "They're girlfriends!" "I gathered that," her sister whispers. Grandma pats my hand. "I like you already." So does she. Vivian covers her face. "I've lost control of this family." Her uncle laughs. "You never had it." After lunch, Emma and Sophie drag me outside. "We need one more person." "For what? Treasure hunt?" Apparently, I spend the next hour searching for painted rocks hidden around the garden. Emma insists butterflies count as clues. Sophie argues they don't. I somehow become the official judge. Vivian watches from the porch with a cup of tea, smiling every time I look her way. "You're good with them," Eleanor says quietly, joining her daughter. "They adore Estelle already." Vivian doesn't take her eyes off me. "I do too." Her mother squeezes her shoulder. "I know." For the first time in years, a family gathering doesn't feel like walking on glass. People tease each other, laugh loudly, interrupt one another. No one seems afraid of making mistakes. It feels warm, safe, like everyone belongs exactly as they are. I realize, with surprising force, that this is what I'd always imagined family was supposed to feel like. Then the front door opens. Conversation slows. Chloe walks inside. My stomach drops. Beside her is another beta I'd never met before, holding her hand. Chloe sees me, stops. Her face drains of color. Vivian steps forward before either of us can speak. "Chloe." "Viv? We need to talk." Her voice isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. Every alpha in the room seems to understand authority instinctively. Chloe nods once. Then Vivian says quietly, "You owe my girlfriend an apology." The room becomes silent. Chloe closes her eyes briefly. "I know." A few minutes later, we're standing alone in the garden. Neither of us speaks immediately. Finally, Chloe sighs. "You look happier." "I am." She nods. "I can see that." Silence returns. Then, "I'm sorry." I don't answer. She continues anyway. "I should have told you the truth." "Yes. I kept convincing myself I'd figure things out first. You didn't." "No." She looks toward the flower beds. "You were always," she laughs weakly, "steady."
You were there every time I fell apart. I remember. Late-night phone calls, missed deadlines, family fights. I had always shown up. My ex, she rubs the back of her neck, the woman I cheated with, I stiffen. We'd been on and off for years. We fought constantly, we'd break up, get back together, break up again. She shakes her head. It was chaos. And when things exploded, she looks at me sadly. I ran to the safest person I knew. I understand. Not because it excuses anything, because it explains it. You used me. Yes. The honesty catches me off guard. I did. I'm ashamed of it. She looks down. You deserved someone who chose you first. I didn't. No. She wipes quickly at one eye. And I finally realized I deserved better too. I glance toward the woman waiting inside. The woman you're dating now? Chloe smiles faintly. She's kind. We actually talk. We don't scream. We don't disappear. I should have wanted healthy from the beginning. She takes a slow breath. I hope you find that too. I smile despite myself. I think I already have. She nods. I know. I've never seen Vivian like this. What do you mean? She smiled 3 times before lunch. I laugh. That's impressive? You don't understand. Chloe smiles sadly. My sister never raises her voice, ever. Today was the first time she actually ordered me to do something. I blink. She told me to apologize, and I knew she meant it. Chloe looks back toward the house where Vivian is laughing with Emma. She loves you. The certainty in her voice surprises me. You think so? I've spent 24 years watching Vivian. She smiles. I've never seen her look at anyone the way she looks at you. I swallow hard. I won't forgive you. I know. But I glance toward Vivian. I love her. Chloe follows my gaze. A small, genuine smile crosses her face. I know. She pauses. And she loves you too. At that moment, Vivian steps onto the porch looking for me. The instant our eyes meet, her expression softens. She smiles. Not politely, not out of habit, only for me. And somehow, for the first time in a very long time, I believe I might not be replaceable after all.
Chapter 7. Estelle. There is something deeply unfair about the fact that Vivian Mercer can make me nervous simply by existing. She's coming over for lunch. Lunch. Not a trial, not a marriage proposal, not a royal inspection. Lunch. Yet I've somehow managed to dirty every mixing bowl in my kitchen before noon. I stir the tomato basil soup, taste it, add pepper, taste it again. It's soup, Estelle. You're not negotiating world peace. My phone buzzes. Vivian. I have arrived. Vivian. I am outside. Vivian. I can smell garlic. Vivian. I already have high expectations. I laugh. Me. Those are dangerous. Vivian. I bill people for disappointment. Me. That's the most lawyer sentence you've ever written. Vivian. I'm very proud of it. I unlock the front door. Vivian is standing there with a bouquet of sunflowers tucked under one arm and a bottle of sparkling lemonade in the other. She smiles the second she sees me. For the chef. You brought flowers? I was advised that arriving empty-handed would reduce my chances of being invited back. You consulted someone? My mother. Ah. She was alarmingly specific. I step aside, laughing. Come in before she starts texting you additional instructions. Vivian pauses in the middle of my apartment. It's exactly how I imagined. You imagined my apartment? I've imagined many things. She looks around at the overflowing bookshelves, mismatched mugs, tiny collection of potted herbs on the windowsill, and the framed pressed flowers hanging near the kitchen. It feels, she searches for the word, peaceful. I smile. I like cozy. I can tell. Her gaze lands on the little herb garden. You actually grow basil? And rosemary? And thyme? She looks impressed. I'm beginning to understand why your soup smells unfairly good. It's my secret weapon. I thought pharmacists weren't supposed to have secret weapons. Only culinary ones. We eat by the window with the afternoon sun spilling across the table. Vivian takes one spoonful of soup, then another, then a third. She sets the spoon down, looks at me, looks back at the soup. Estelle. Yes? This is incredible. It's only soup. I object. On what grounds? This soup has emotional depth. I laugh so hard I nearly spill my drink. What does that even mean? It tastes like someone genuinely wanted the person eating it to have a good day. I stare at her. That's oddly specific. I stand by my statement. She tears off another piece of fresh bread. Dangerous woman. I'm dangerous? If you keep cooking like this, she points her spoon at me, I'm going to ask you to move in immediately. My face goes hot. Vivian. I'm serious. You've had one meal. And already my standards have changed. I sigh dramatically. I can't return to eating takeaway 4 nights a week. I refuse to be legally responsible for your dependence on homemade soup. You underestimate my willingness to draft paperwork. I laugh. What would the contract say? She pretends to think. Article 1. Estelle shall provide soup when reasonably possible. I see. Article 2. Fresh bread strongly encouraged. And my compensation? She smiles. Unlimited pastries. I'm listening. Morning coffee. Go on. A girlfriend who thinks you're extraordinary. My fork freezes halfway to my mouth. Vivian realizes what she said. Her ears turn pink. She clears her throat. I may have gotten ahead of myself. No, I smile shyly. I liked it. Relief washes across her face. I'm glad. We finish lunch talking about everything and nothing. A client of hers who accidentally replied all to an entire legal department, Mrs. Henderson insisting the pharmacy should stock Hope in tablet form, Vivian laughing so hard that she has to wipe tears from her eyes. I memorize the sound. Afterward, we wash the dishes together. Vivian dries, I wash. It's surprisingly domestic, comfortable, like we've been doing this for years. She bumps my shoulder with hers. You know, I wasn't joking. About what? Moving in. I nearly drop a plate. Vivian. I know. She smiles. It's ridiculously soon. A little. But she folds a towel carefully. I've never met someone whose company feels this easy. I don't answer immediately, because she's right. Being around her has become the easiest part of my life, which makes what I need to say even harder. I dry my hands slowly. Vivian? She immediately notices my expression. What is it? I've been meaning to tell you something. She sets the dish towel down. All of her attention settles on me. You can tell me anything. My stomach twists. I believe her. That's the problem. I haven't been completely honest. Concern flickers across her face. You already told me about Chloe. I know. But there are things I haven't told you about after I found out who you were. She doesn't interrupt. She simply waits, patiently, kindly,
exactly the way she always does. I take a shaky breath. The day I discovered you were Chloe's sister, I stare at the floor. I was angry. Understandably. I wanted her to regret cheating on me. Vivian nods slowly. I thought if she saw me happy, I swallow. It would hurt. Silence. So, my voice is barely above a whisper. So when I realized the woman I'd had a crush on for months was her older sister, I forced myself to meet Vivian's eyes. A terrible idea crossed my mind. Understanding begins to dawn across her face. I thought, tears sting unexpectedly. I thought maybe if I dated you, the words catch painfully, she'd finally understand what she'd thrown away. The room becomes completely still. I never wanted to hurt you. I swear I didn't. I didn't approach you because you were Chloe's sister. I already liked you before I knew. I laugh bitterly at myself. Let my heartbreak convince me that revenge was a good idea. Vivian doesn't speak. The silence feels endless. I need you to know something else. What? She asks quietly. The plan didn't survive very long. I step closer. The first time you smiled at me, the first time you remembered my name, the first time you let me help you, my reasons started changing. I shake my head. Then you fell asleep holding my hand. My revenge disappeared. I stopped thinking about Chloe. I started thinking about whether you'd eaten lunch, whether you were sleeping enough, whether your shoulders hurt. My voice breaks. I fell in love with you. A tear slips down my cheek. And that's what scares me. Because now, I laugh softly through my tears. If you walk away, I'll know I deserve it. Vivian is silent for another long moment. Then she closes the distance between us. Very gently, she cups my face. Estelle, I am disappointed. My heart sinks. Not because you had that thought. She brushes away a tear with her thumb. Because you carried it alone. I blink. What? You should have told me sooner. I know. She nods. I wish you had. So do I. Another quiet moment passes. Then she smiles, small, warm, and a little sad. Do you know what I believe? I shake my head. I believe people should be judged by what they choose next. She rests her forehead lightly against mine. You chose honesty. You chose to tell me before I had to discover it from someone else. You chose to stop pursuing revenge. She smiles. And every choice you've made since then has been about caring for me. I let out a shaky breath I didn't realize I was holding. So, I whisper, you're not leaving? She laughs softly. No. She wraps her arms around me. I'm staying. I bury my face against her shoulder, relief washing through me so suddenly my knees feel weak. I was terrified. I know. I thought you'd lose me. She kisses the top of my head. You've given me honesty. I'd like to respond with the same. I look up. I've never fallen this quickly for anyone before. Her smile grows bigger, and I still very much want to eat your soup for the rest of my life. Despite everything, I laugh. So that's your priority? It ranks surprisingly high. I playfully swat her arm. You impossible woman. She catches my hand before I can pull it away. I know. Then, with a tenderness that steals the breath from my lungs, she kisses me. This time, there are no misunderstandings between us. No secrets left waiting in the shadows. Only two women standing barefoot in a tiny kitchen that somehow feels far bigger than it did that morning, choosing each other with open eyes.
Epilogue. Estelle. 3 months later.
I have learned many things since moving in with Vivian. 1. Corporate lawyers own an unreasonable number of white shirts. 2. No matter how carefully you fold fitted sheets, they still look like you've wrestled a ghost. This morning, I toss another freshly folded towel onto the growing stack in our laundry basket. Done. Vivian picks up a fitted sheet, studies it with the serious concentration she usually reserves for legal briefs. I have a theory. That sounds dangerous. I can fold this. You said that 20 minutes ago. I was younger then. I lean against the couch, crossing my arms. Go ahead. She shakes the sheet once. Twice. It wraps itself around her arm like a determined octopus. I've lost. You've barely started. It has already established dominance. I laugh so hard my stomach hurts. I'd like the record to show, Vivian announces gravely, that fitted sheets are fundamentally hostile. They're just misunderstood. She raises one eyebrow. You're taking their side? I'm Switzerland. You disappoint me. I rescue the sheet from her. With 3 practiced folds, it becomes a neat rectangle. Vivian stares. Sorcery. Years of folding laundry in a tiny apartment. I've spent 7 years negotiating multi-million-dollar mergers. And yet, I place the folded sheet on the pile. The blanket defeated you. She sighs dramatically. I was trained for different battles. I grin. I'll protect you from the linens. Thank goodness. She steps behind me before I realize what she's doing. Warm arms slide around my waist. Her chin rests lightly on my shoulder. I like this. The fitted sheets? No. She squeezes me gently. This. I lean back against her instinctively. Doing laundry? Doing anything. Her voice grows softer. I spent years believing life happened between work deadlines. She kisses my temple. I didn't realize ordinary moments could be my favorite ones. My heart melts a little every time she says things like that. I turn within her embrace until we're facing each other. What are you thinking? That folding towels somehow became romantic. I laugh. We're hopeless. We're happy. I like your version better. I rise onto my toes and kiss her, soft, unhurried. She smiles before we've even separated. I was going to tell you that. What? I'm really happy I moved in with you. Her green eyes brighten. I was hoping you were. I wake up beside my favorite person. You make coffee every morning. You leave me little notes in the refrigerator. She grins. You've found them? I've found all 12. My personal favorite was, I pretend to think. Reminder, lawyers are legally required to kiss pharmacists at least once daily. Entirely enforceable. I looked it up. You did not. I absolutely did. She laughs. I adore you. Heat still rises to my cheeks every time she says that, even after 3 months. I'm making your favorite dinner tonight. She immediately perks up. The mushroom pasta? And garlic bread. Her eyes widen. Marry me. I blink. She blinks too. Then she coughs into her hand. That may have come out earlier than intended. I burst into laughter. You proposed over garlic bread. It was excellent garlic bread. I haven't even made it yet. I have faith. I shake my head fondly. You impossible woman. So, she smiles hopefully. May I help? You? Yes. The woman who once burned boiling water? It was an unusually flammable saucepan. There was no fire. There could have been. I laugh again. You can chop mushrooms. I accept this responsibility.
Our kitchen isn't large, but somehow it's become my favorite room in the apartment. Her favorite jazz playlist hums softly through the speakers. Late afternoon sunlight pours across the countertops. Vivian stands beside me, wearing one of my aprons. It's far too short for her. The embroidered words read, "Kiss the cook." I feel underdressed. You look adorable. I've been upgraded from intimidating lawyer. You've been upgraded to adorable lawyer. I'll accept that. She picks up a mushroom, studies it carefully. Question. Uniform slices?
Approximately. Define approximately. I trust your judgment. She looks horrified. You shouldn't. I absolutely should. You've forgotten who folded the fitted sheet. Different skill set. I appreciate your optimism. A few minutes later, she proudly presents a chopping board full of mushrooms. I inspect them. They're... I hesitate. Creative. They're mushrooms. They're 7 different sizes. They're expressing individuality. I can't help smiling. Fine. They're artistically chopped. I knew you'd understand. I warm olive oil in the pan. The garlic begins sizzling almost immediately. The entire apartment fills with its rich aroma. Vivian inhales dramatically. I've made an excellent decision moving in with you. You say that every time I cook. Because it's always true. The mushrooms join the pan with a satisfying hiss. Butter, fresh thyme, a splash of white wine. Vivian watches everything with genuine fascination. How do you know when it's ready? It tells you. The mushrooms? The smell changes. She leans closer. I don't hear anything. You have lawyer senses, and you have chef senses. I'll take that. The cream sauce slowly thickens. Fresh Parmesan disappears into it like snow melting into sunlight. Meanwhile, Vivian has been assigned garlic bread duty, which mostly involves brushing butter onto slices. She takes this assignment very seriously. Too much garlic? There is no such thing. I knew I chose correctly. You chose? You. She says it so naturally, so casually, like it's the simplest truth in the world. It still makes my heart skip. Half an hour later, we carry 2 steaming bowls to the dining table. Candles flicker softly between us. Not because it's a special occasion, because we've discovered ordinary Tuesdays deserve candlelight too. Vivian twirls the first bite of pasta around her fork, tastes it, closes her eyes, then points dramatically toward the ceiling. Perfection. You're exaggerating. I'm documenting facts. She takes another bite. If this restaurant existed, it does, our apartment, I would give it 5 stars. The chef accepts tips. She reaches across the table, takes my hand. I've already given the chef my heart. For a moment, I can't think of anything witty to say, which she notices immediately. I've stunned the pharmacist. You have? I'll write this in my diary. I hate you. No? She smiles. You love me. I do. The words come easily now, comfortably. I really do. She squeezes my fingers. So do I. We eat slowly, talking about our days. One of her clients accidentally muted himself during an important video meeting and spent 3 minutes passionately arguing with technology. Mrs. Henderson had brought another batch of cookies to the pharmacy. Steve, the succulent, who now lives on our kitchen windowsill, somehow continues surviving despite both of us forgetting to water him. He's immortal. He's stubborn. Same thing. We laughed together. Again, as always. Later that evening, we wash dishes shoulder to shoulder. She dries, I wash, exactly like the first time. Except now, she steals kisses whenever I hand her another plate. You're distracting me. I'm motivating you. By kissing me? It seems effective. I suppose. I kiss her once more. You may continue. She smiles into the kiss. When the last dish is finally put away, we wander onto our little balcony carrying mugs of tea. The city glows beneath us. Warm lights, distant laughter, the ordinary rhythm of people living their lives. Vivian slips her hand in mine. I can't wait for tomorrow. I smile. What are we doing tomorrow? She thinks for a moment. I have absolutely no idea. No plans? None. She leans her head against my shoulder. And I find that incredibly exciting. Really? Mm-hmm. She smiles toward the city lights. Because whatever we end up doing, she squeezes my hand,
I'll get to do it with you. I rest my head gently against hers. 3 months ago, I thought the greatest revenge would be making Chloe regret losing me. Now, standing here beside the woman I love, I realize I haven't thought about revenge in weeks. Not because I finally won, because I'd found something infinitely better. Tomorrow didn't need to be extraordinary. It would probably involve grocery shopping, answering work emails, watering Steve, and debating whose turn it was to fold the fitted sheet. And somehow, that sounded like the happiest future I could imagine.